This calcium carbide is used in miner's lanterns. And so my father, we later moved from from Raymond to Sunnyside and Yakima and a few places. But ended up in Longview, and my father, we had moles in the yard.
One of the ways you got rid of moles in the yard was to gas them out. And the way you would gas them out is you would take this calcium carbide, put it into the mole holes, and then put water in it, and when the calcium carbide and the water mix, you get acetylene gas.
It was a barrel about like this and about like that, and it was far more than he would ever have needed. But if, in my father's case, if it were doing, it's worth overdoing. And so he had that there, and he was going to kill the moles with it. Now, the calcium, the acetylene gas is heavier than air, so it would go down in. You put it in there with water, and it would go down in a mole hill and a mole hole, and then the moles would die of suffocation, or they would die because of the acetylene gas. So I decided, gee, that's kind of neat, because we had a whole bunch of moles in the backyard, and the place was just, just molehills all over the place. And evidently it was just kind of a bunch of trails and all this kind of thing, and maybe, I don't know, some opening in down there or whatever. And I decided to there's the carbide, and
Took it out there, dumped these things down the mole hill, and put the water down, and sat there, and it was probably doing its job. It was probably killing the moles just fine, but Dad was thinking, this is awfully boring.
well, nothing happened. You expect something like screaming of moles and that type of thing, and it never occurred. And I decided, gee, this is boring, and so I said, well, I'll just light it and it will explode. Well, it didn't explode. It just kind of, there was just some little yellow flame and so on like that. There was no pressure on it. I didn't realize at the time that in order to get it to explode, there has to be a shock wave that comes through, and that causes the chemical reaction. So I decided, oh no, it must be because it doesn't have air. You got to have some oxygen to it. So I went in and I got some more calcium carbide, washed it down there, and then I fanned it with the thing in to get some oxygen, and I did a match to it, and it was just one of these whoom type explosions, and it would grow a big hole in the backyard. It was a big mess because I had quite a bit of water out there. There was mud all over the house, and we had a Seventh-day Adventist preacher living next door named Mr. Pettit, and he came running out the door wondering what had done, what happened here, because evidently it shook his house, and it wasn't a terribly loud noise, but it was a concussion type thing, and it did get mud on the house and so on like that, and kind of messed up the backyard, and he helped me get the place cleaned up so that my parents wouldn't be too upset with me.